Hello all, it's Melinda. Today I created a layout and I did tape a video of it, but somewhere along the way my computer decided to not actually record it. So after I posted it on Instagram, I had some interest in how I did this, so I thought I would do another one. So let me show you some things about this. This is, let's see if I can get this to zoom in. A stencil I used, and I used this stencil right here by Crafter's Workshop. It is $4.93 is the number on it. I don't know if they still make it or is still available, but I got it at Tuesday Morning. That's where I've been getting a lot of my stencils. And they're all by Crafter's Workshop, 6x6 and 12x12 ones. Most of the time, I don't know that I'm even going to use them when I pick them up, but they're cheap enough and you just never know. And they don't take up much space, so I figure if I don't ever use them, they cost me $2. I'm okay with that. But what this is I did the stencil first, and then I started with my inks, and I will show you that when I do it. After the stencil was dry, and I just put inks around it until I got to the outer edge. I wasn't sure how many colors I would get. I think if I would do it again, I might do the red a little bit smaller so that I can get maybe a little bit more color variation, which we'll try this time. But it is just Dina Wakley's, let's see if I can pull it out, Dilutions ink in red, orange, yellow, green. And the blue, I don't have a blue one, so the blue is Mr. Huey's, I believe. It made a big mess. I still have stained fingers from it. Then I used lots of water so that it spread. Let me grab my water bottle. Where is it? Just a little water bottle. And after I got it how I wanted it, there was lots of water on it, so I sprayed alcohol on it to create these, I don't know what you want to call it, the variation, the mottled look, I guess. Can you even see that? Like the little splots. Over here might be better. See how you see the little splots right here? This is modeling page right there, but these are splots. What the alcohol does is it dries up the water and creates these like water spots. Cut file is something I made up. It's a quote from, let me see if I can pull that up. Go through my pictures. I snapped it. I found it on Google. Listen to the compass of your heart. All you need lies within you. Mary Ann Radmacher. I might be murdering her last name. And I have these wood veneer and this reinforcer that I used Dina Wakley's acrylic glint paint, and it is metallic-y gold on. This flare badge is from A Flare for Buttons. And these are just layers and layers of vellum because it didn't really need much, but I needed the photo to stand out a little bit. So layers and layers of vellum. I created a journaling pocket like I always do. And that basically is it. So I will walk you through the steps of this, and you won't have to wait for drying times because I will fast forward the video for you. So I'm going to start this process. This is watercolor paper that I used, and I just used a metal palette knife. These packages are from ephemera packs, and I just sprayed a little bit of the color in, sprayed some water in, and then used this big round brush to apply it. And you'll see all that when I get on to doing that. All right, without further ado, let's start this all over again. I'm just going to put down this mat so that I don't make a big mess, and get the palette knife and squeeze some onto it and just kind of spread it around, kind of like butter. This is a little more fluidy than the other brand that I used on the last layout. I just want to get a thin coating but fill in. There's some large spots on this stencil that need to be filled in evenly if possible. Now I'm going to run upstairs and clean this, but you don't have to wait for that. I'm going to try to dry it with my heat gun, but I realized that this is bubbling up a little bit, so I stop and I honestly take a 2-hour nap. I had snowblowed the driveway for the first time in my life, and I was pretty wore out. Once this was dry, I gave it a light sand to get some of the peaks off, and it just makes it a little bit more even. Now I'm going to just spray these into these trays. I kind of have them in order. Now the first time I did it, I sprayed quite a bit in and I ended up wasting quite a bit, so this time I'm only going to spray a little bit in. I'll show you close-ups of these here in a second. Now this one was the one that made the big mess, and it sprayed off sideways and even got on my phone. So I cleaned it and tried to protect stuff, and it sprayed perfectly fine that time. So I don't know what was wrong. Probably had something clogged in it. Here they are. They are Post Box Red, Pure Sunshine, Lemon Zest, Cut Grass, and Navy. And the navy is Mr. Huey's. I'll have to look into getting a blue of the Dina Wakley because I really liked her sprays. Now I'm just going to spray some water and just start in the center. I try to, this kind of looks orange on the screen to me right now, but it's red. Clean my brush off, and the next layer I spray around the outside of this, and you notice how it starts to bleed. And I'm trying to just go from, like, make streaks from the center out, or the outside into the center. More spray, and do the same thing with the yellow. Now right now, to me, the yellow and the orange look a little bit the same. I had a hair stuck in there, so I had to pick it out. Spray again, just around the outside edge, just so that it kind of can bleed together. Now the blue gets pretty dark compared to the rest of the colors. And I'm just like making little dash lines with it. Now I liked how the first one turned out on the outer edge, and this one gets a little more blurry. I think I used a little bit too much water on this one. Now here's where I'm just splashing, not even spraying, just splashing, flicking the alcohol on it, and see how it's changing, how the paint's moving, or the spray's moving around. And it creates little puddles, and I just kind of dab up the biggest puddles. Some of the paint and spray can get transferred around this way. I try to just, I don't know, sop it up a little bit. I'm going to grab the heat tool. This really dries up nicely once the alcohol was on it. You can just watch it dry as you put the heat gun on it. So And I'm just going to go around and just try to make sure that it is as dry as possible, because I've noticed that the glue does not stick to damp paper. I'm showing you the difference in them real quick. Because there's going to be no way to get them identical, that's kind of how this kind of goes, is you get what you get. Okay, it is dry, and I used this modeling paste that I picked up at, I think, Joann's. I'm not really loving it. If you can tell, the first one I did with Teresa Collins modeling paste that I got at Joann's, but I noticed that it was really thick and starting to dry out. So for this one, I did the other kind. But if you can see the difference in them. It didn't take the color. Like this one took the color and this one did not. So I kind of got this coloring that's missing on it. It's a little bit fluffier, if that's a term, and rubbery feeling. But it'll work for what I'm doing. Now I have went ahead and picked a photo to use, and I picked a quote that I want to put on it. This is my middle daughter. So I'm going to go ahead and put you on fast forward again, and I'll finish this layout. I'm going to peel this cut file up. I took the quote from Maya Angelou, and it says, "Nothing can dim the light that shines from within." And I'm just going to take the dots of the eyes back because they fell off. I'm going to flip forward here so you don't have to watch me peel all this up. Now this is Autumn in November font. I found it on DaFont, and I can link it below. And I just cut it with the silhouette. I had to weld the letters. This is just a dot vellum that I got at Hobby Lobby. And I'm going to use the whole 8.5 by 11 sheet just to create a bunch of layers of vellum. It kind of just helps the photo separate from the rest of the layout without really taking much away. I want to put a border of white around the photo. It's a very thin border. Just use my scissors. And I want to stack them a little bit haphazard so you can tell that there's more than one thick layer there. So I'm going to get them in place and then just staple them together. Trim it and then glue the fixture on. Now I already know that I want to create a journaling pocket because there's just no way I can journal with all this, the title the way it is. It would take away from the title. So I'm going to get some more white cardstock and create a smooth back for the card to slide into. Because of the staples, I have to add another piece of cardstock to create a smooth back. I'm going to really glue this really well at the top so that it does not come apart, and have the tag slide nice and easily into the right spot. I've done this many times, so I just cut this Scott's foam tape into little bitty strips, and I run one along each side of the tag and then a stopper on the end to create a channel for the tag to slide in and out of. And stick another piece of cardstock on it. These are Flair 4 button badges, and I liked the first one because it had a colored red heart, but I didn't like the brown of it, so I got this white one and I put a heart sticker on it that I got from Walmart for 97 cents for 2 sheets. I'm going to glue these on with my glue pen. I didn't make you watch me do all of them. Here's the last one. And then to put the dots on, I'm going to use my liquid glue to create a little bitty dot, and then I'm going to stick the white dot into it. They're not the easiest to stick in there. It makes a little bit of a mess. So I'm going to just kind of push them down after I'm done with a little bit of wax paper so that I don't get glue all over my fingers. Just kind of dabbing up the extra glue. Now I decided, because I put that red heart on there, that I'm going to have the reinforcer be red as well. And then I'll add a third heart to kind of create a little color triangle. I'm not going to add any other embellishments whatsoever to the layout. I'm going to shop this around a little bit before I decide where to put this. I was thinking that I wanted it to go somewhere in the title, but I just didn't like it. It just looked like it was floating. So I'm going to stick it right on the edge of the photo, right by her head. I'm going to stick some foam. Now, the ones I buy are, I don't know what she calls them, open back, I think she calls them, from Flair for Buttons. You can get them flat backed, but I like the open ones so that I can stick the adhesive in the center of it, and it doesn't stick nearly as high off the page as if it's a flat back to me. I'm going to just put this string through it. I'll have to trim it because it's a little bit long, and create the journaling lines. And then I write out in pencil, and then I go over it in the marker because I tend to make mistakes, and if I do it in pencil first, I can catch them usually. So I'm going to erase all of that. I like to erase really well. And then I stick it in. And it slides in so nicely. And you're going to get some live close-ups here, and just to show you the way the colors bleed together and where the alcohol made the, I don't know, water spots on it. And I'll show you the other two next to each other, or the other one next to each other. I like the first one better for the outline, the outer edge, but I think they both turned out nice. Thank you for watching. If you're not a subscriber and you like this video, hit the subscribe button. Thank you again. Bye.